today we are going to be learning how to cut a sleeve, and I believe it's one of the basic things I used to, give people a lot of stress when they want to sew. Okay, but it's not actually that hard. It's something you can just do if you know the basic things that you need to know, alright? So if you are new here, please do well to subscribe to the channel and click on the notification button. And to our returning subscribers, thank you so much for sticking around. I believe that we're all learning, okay? So let's get back to the business of the day. So anytime you are talking about sleeve, just know that you have four basic things to consider, okay? So today we are doing sleeve drafting, drafting or cutting, okay? Drafting slash cutting, depending on what you call it, okay? So anytime you're talking about something like this, just know that you have four things to consider. The first one is the sleeve cap, and the second one is the bicep, okay, and the third one is the round sleeve. I just write it as RS, and the fourth one is of course the length of the sleeve. That's sleeve length, okay. Sorry, sleeve length, okay. So I'm just going to sketch a diagram so that I will explain further what I mean. So this is like a sleeve or like a cloth that is folded into two. So I'm just going to draw my line. Okay. So this here, the distance here is a sleeve cap, and then this place here is a bicep. Okay. And distance from here to here down is a round sleeve. While everything here is the sleeve length. Okay, so these are the things that we're going to be considering in our class today. How do you get there, and what do you do with the numbers you've gotten so far? So when you want to calculate, I'm just going to give you a standard measurement, and I'm also going to give you like a guide on what to do when you are doing that. So the standard measurement for calculating your sleeve cap. For the standard measurement for getting the sleeve cap, because you don't measure the sleeve cap of anybody, okay? The standard measurement is the bust of the person B divided by 12 plus 1. So assuming that we are working with a bust 40, okay? Assuming we are working with bust 40, so we are going to divide by 12 and we're going to add 1. Please remember, you not say 40 plus 1 divided by 12. It's a different thing altogether. I mean 40 divided by 12 plus 1, okay? So let's do the calculation together. This is 40 divided by 12. You're going to get 3.3 plus 1. So you're going to get 4.3, okay? So have 3.3 at the end of the day. Then you're going to add 1. So you have 4.3. So I can decide to approximate this thing I just did now to 4.5. Okay? It depends on you. If you don't want to approximate, you leave it as here. Of course, you know that by the time you finish drawing your line, you might even end up on the 4.5, right? So this is the distance for this one. So whatever you're going to do, or anytime you are cutting a dress and you want to calculate your sleeve cap, you already know the calculation that you're going to use. But whichever way, in case you've forgotten the formula, you can always take your sleeve cap. That's the measurement. Like I said, I was going to give you a guide. Okay, you can take the sleeve cap from 40, sorry, not 40, from 4 to 5.5 inches, depending on who you are sewing for, and the measurement of the person and the size of the person's bust, okay? Because it's the bust that determines how long the sleeve will go, so that it can accommodate the shoulder and the bust region of the person. The bicep, you can measure it on the person's, you can measure the upper arm of the person you are sewing for. Remember that when you want to measure the sleeve, you measure from the shoulder cap, that's the shoulder bone of the person when you are taking a fresh measurement. So that is to say that the sleeve cap start from the shoulder bone and stop at the bicep. Okay, let's do the practical aspect of this thing we are doing now. This is like a dress I folded into two. And remember that this is constant for both long sleeve, three-quarter sleeve, and short sleeve. There is no disparity. It's constant. That's the sleeve cap, the bicep, the round sleeve, and all of them. It's constant. So you don't need to be worried whether when you get to long sleeve, this process is going to vary. It's the same thing for both of them, okay? So it's the same thing for both of them. So now, assuming we are giving a sleeve, okay, a shoulder or sorry, a bust of 42, and we are giving round sleeve of 15 and length at 7 inches. This is round sleeve, this is the length of the sleeve, and this is the shoulder. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to divide my 42 by 12. Remember the formula, shoulder divided by 12. Divide your 42 by 12, okay, and you add plus 1. So at the end of the day, when we divide our 42 divided by 12, we're going to have 3.5, right? Then we're going to add 1. So when we add 1, we're going to have 4.5 at a dot. Remember, I still fall within the range I gave you as a guide. That is the sleeve cap is always ranging from 4 to 5.5, depending on the size of the person you are sewing for. So what we are going to do now is to transfer this calculation to this place. So the practical aspect of what I just said now is to get the baseline or where the cap line starts. The thing to do is to get the bicep line. Remember, we are working with we've done the calculation. The calculation is 4.5 for the bicep line. Okay, so you do 4.5. I'm going to draw it, connect the line, and our sleeve length is 7 inches. Remember, the 7 inches is the actual sleeve length. So if you are sewing this thing now, of course you know you are going to add your seam allowance that you used to turn the sleeve, right? So that is it. So the next thing we are going to do now is to now connect the bicep line and get our actual sleeve length and our actual round sleeve. So what are we going to do? We're going to use a dotted line. Always use a dotted line to connect so that you can easily clean it out. Remember, if I'm using chalk to do this thing, it's easy for me to clean out. So after checking my dotted line, I'm going to okay, let me label it. This is a bicep line and this is the length, okay? And the distance from here to here is the cap, okay? So now, I'm just going to check out this bicep line, which is 9 inches, right? Is 9 inches. I'm going to get the center of 9. When 9 is divided by 2, you're going to have 4.5. So this is 4.5. Then I'll come at this 4.5 and come up by half an inch. That's 0.5. Then after coming up and marking my 0.5, the next thing I'm going to do is to connect this line, right? You see how I'm placing my French curve. Please, I'm also saying that if you don't have this French curve ruler, you can do without it. You can use your hand and do this curve. It's always advisable to get it to ease yourself of unnecessary stress. So the next one I'm going to do, remember that our round sleeve, the measurement is 15. So I'm just going to mark my 15 here. 15 divided by 2 is going to give me 7.5. Okay, so I'm going to add my seam allowance. So normally I usually add 1.5 or 2 inches seam allowance depending on what I'm sewing for. You can even use one, but if you're a beginner, please avoid using smaller allowance for now to avoid unnecessary stress. So it's good you use like 1.5 or 2 inches seam allowance to be on safer side. So the next thing I'm going to do here, that's the, what's it called, the baseline, that's the length of the sleeve. I'm still going to mark because it's still the same 15. I'm still going to mark and add my seam allowance. So that is about short sleeve. Okay. And if you are talking about, if you want to now do long sleeve, remember that this is the basic sleeve pattern. If you want to do a long sleeve, what you're going to do is to extend the length of the sleeve. Like I said before, everything here is constant. The bicep, the cap, everything is constant. The only thing is that the sleeve is now longer. You will get your elbow length, you measure to the elbow. You will remember that when you are measuring a long sleeve, the person should kind of lock the arm, bring it up for ease. Because if you measure the person while the arm is dropping, remember that at the end of the day, you're going to have a shorter sleeve. When the person tend to bring up the arms, the sleeve will go up kind of. So the person should lock up the arm for ease so that it will be flexible. So the next thing we are going to do now, if we are making a long sleeve, is to get the maybe sleeve length, whether it's 3/4 sleeve or long sleeve. Your measure, assuming that this person's sleeve length is like 18. So 18 should be like short 3/4 sleeve. So we'll continue like that. Maybe this place is like 12 inches with the seam allowance. So it's still the same thing. Did you understand? It's still the same thing. That is just the difference. Okay. And after cutting this sleeve, there's a little mathematics that you will do here for better fitting, especially when you are sewing a fitted dress. For a shirt, this is okay. For a free dress, this is okay. But when you're making something like a fitted dress, okay, like you won't want too much excesses around the bodies of the clothes. You just want it to be the way, as in, you just want it to fit perfectly. So what you're going to do is when you come to the front here, this one is okay for the back when you're making a fitted dress. But when you come to the, just like I know I've already made a video on round sleeve, the way you are trimming out something at the round sleeve of the front of the dress is still the same way you're going to trim out something. The aim is to have a better fit at the end of the day. So what are you going to do? You come in here by 1/2 inch, just like it was the way I did it before joining it. You come in here by 1/2 inch, okay, and connect your line. You come in by 1/2 inch and connect your line. Now where you are coming in is still at that place you marked half. Do you understand? Sorry, the line is not going the way it's supposed to go. Where you are coming in is still that place that you marked your half. That is where you come in. Okay? So this little excess that you are cutting out is still part of the thing that will make your dress to be looking very big at that armpit area. Okay, so by the time you snatch, you sew the other one you cut out that is smaller there, and you sew this one, there won't be unnecessary excesses. And there's another thing I want to, but please, before I note the other thing I want to say, please, I believe that the content has been very useful. Please do well to subscribe to the channel and click on the notification button if you have not done that, and drop your comment in the comment section. You can say ask your question because I'm here to answer your questions. So lastly, I want to state that when you are sewing or after cutting this sleeve, you also need to trace the line of this sleeve on the armhole that you've already cut. Okay, so if at the end of the day, after tracing it and you think it's bigger, you can measure. because assuming the person that I'm sewing for the armhole is 9 or 8. Okay, so I'm going to check out this thing now. If it's 9, you see that I don't have anything to worry. The remaining thing is the excess. That's the seam allowance, what I use to put my seam allowance. So I have nothing to worry about. But at the end of the day, if you think that what you measured is bigger, the best thing to do is to reduce this cap. Maybe you overestimated your cap or you did not calculate well. So the best thing you are going to do is to trim this cap. Once you trim it, it will naturally fit in. Okay, so that is about the basic things that you need to know about your sleeve cutting. All right, I want to encourage you to just give it, especially if you're having problem on sleeve cutting, please try it and let's know the outcome of what you tried in the comment section. All right, okay guys, see you in our next video. Bye.